Hi, welcome to Leo's Cameras, and we have a special guest today. We have our Fuji guy, Gord, visiting us with a new product.
Yeah, I'm really excited to be able to share with you and your viewers the brand new X-T2.
Wow.
So it's very exciting camera coming from FujiFilm, middle of September, and we'll spend a little bit of time going through its features and benefits shortly.
We'll take it upstairs to our attic in a quiet location to discuss the details, since right now we're unable to talk about it just yet at this point.
Wow.
We're now up in our attic where we're able to talk freely about the new camera.
Yeah.
So Gord, I guess one of the things that a lot of people were concerned with is with from the X-T1 to the X-T2, what are the key features that you would probably find the most significant to mention?
Sure. Based on the feedback that we got from users of the X-T1, we really took it to heart, all that information to heart, and that's something that we at Fuji really like to talk about. And so because of that, we've actually been able to improve and change slightly some of the dials and configurations. So we've actually made the shutter speed dial as well as the ISO dial a little bit larger in diameter, and they're actually taller, and that's to help prevent inadvertently controlling and changing one of these lower command wheels as you're turning.
And of course, if somebody's wearing gloves in cold weather conditions, I can see the advantage also, more tactile, easy to grab hold of too.
Absolutely, yes. The other significant change was we've actually changed how these buttons configured. So now to rotate them, all I have to do is unlock them. I can rotate them to my heart's content, and then if I want to, I can lock them back down again at a specific setting.
Right. So, and once again, unintentional bumps or knocking is eliminated.
Exactly, but it's a lot easier because a lot of people were mentioning the fact that previously with the X-T1, to take it off of the A, you had to push and hold that button and then turn it, which when you're wearing gloves may or may not be the easiest thing to do.
Right.
The front grip is a little bit deeper, so when you're wearing gloves, it's a little easier to hang on to and hold on to. And we actually have now, in addition to the plus or minus 3 stops of the X-T1, we've actually got this C, which allows us for up to 5 stops of exposure compensation, just like the X Pro 2.
Exactly.
Again, just like the X Pro 2, we've added that 8-way focus lever. So now you can very quickly and easily change the focus point anywhere within your frame.
Yeah, the X Pro 2 was extremely popular with that extra feature, for sure.
Absolutely. There's also a tilting screen. So your X-T1 tilted down 45 degrees and tilted up 90 degrees. In the case of the X-T2, we've actually got it now where I can tilt it in the vertical mode. So now if ever I'm shooting a situation where I want to be either up on high, I can look at it, or if I'm shooting down low and shooting waist, I can actually look down and see the screen.
That's a great addition.
Looking at the door of the memory card slot, it's a little bit improved, and there's actually a latch in there now.
Oh, okay, so without it sliding out?
Without it sliding out. And we've actually got a 2-card slot in there, just like the X Pro 2, but an improvement over the X Pro 2 in the fact that both of these are now UHS-2 compatible slots. Very fast image transfer. Right.
And I'm guessing probably leading up to the advantage of the speed for video applications also.
Absolutely. So with the X-T2, we've actually added 4K capability with the cameras. And when you're using an external recorder, you can actually get 422 8-bit recording.
Right.
However, in order to take full advantage of the video recording, you probably want the optional vertical battery grip, which is a booster grip. In addition to having more batteries, you actually get additional performance enhancements, including longer 4K recording. So instead of being natively where it's actually limited to 10 minutes in camera, you can actually get up to 30 minutes recording 4K.
Now, there were concerns online that people were worried about heat issues with the 4K video recording and battery-wise, and how did Fuji tackle that?
Well, with the X-T2, we've actually introduced a new battery, the W126S. And these batteries are a little better heat protected, heat shielded, to minimize the heat buildup that can occur, especially when you're working with 4K with a lot of processing power that's going on in there. Processors do get hot, and that's to help minimize the battery heating up issues.
Exactly.
One of the final things on the physical side of things as far as improvement from the X-T1 is the 4-way D-pad buttons. In addition to being a bit more tactile than previously on the X-T1, they're actually a little bit more relief to them, so a lot easier to feel. either directly with your thumb or if you are wearing gloves on there as well.
Right.
So a lot of feedback and improvements based directly from end users.
Great, and that's fantastic to hear.
Talking about the inside of the camera, the big revolution from the X-T1 to the X-T2 is now we're working with a 24 megapixel sensor with the aps-c X-Trans sensor, and we feel that that's a good balance between performance as well as size capabilities within there.
Exactly. So I'm assuming derived from the X Pro 2 again, from the sensor
Exactly
wise?
the same sensor as the X Pro 2, as well as we've added again, just different feedback. So in the X-T1, you've got a video record button up in here, and not too many people were pleased with that. So with the X-T2, we've actually moved that to a separate,
an actual setting
on the camera, and then you use the standard, the traditional mean shutter release to be able to start and stop your videos.
Since you mentioned about the shutter button, you mentioned earlier that the other change, even though it's minute for some, but going to back to the cable release, threaded cable release, I have to admit, it's something that I missed myself, having that simple mechanical cable release options where it's not dependent on a USB port and in the traditional sense of things is actually a nice little added bonus to me.
It's a little feedback like that we get from users that we enhance on there. And on the other side, the door for the various ports, you can might be able to see that we've actually added a 3.5 millimeter microphone jack. So instead of having that traditional 2.5 millimeter that Fuji's had, you don't have to have the adapter. It's also USB 3 compatible connector within there versus previous iterations, which were 2. Not that anyone would necessarily use the USB cable to download the images, but it is something to have if you're wanting to. As well, you can actually charge the battery in the camera using a USB port on your computer if you really wanted to. The command wheels on the front and back, in addition to being wheels, there are actually buttons on there now as well, so you can actually customize those, as well as the autofocus lock and auto exposure lock. They're fully customizable now with the X-T2. So a lot of improvements, a lot of performance enhancements, and some really great overall user experience improvements.
So with going back to the buttons on the back that you were mentioning about that you could then control, you were saying earlier that now the shutter button can be just a shutter button, so then you could then customize, so have on continuous autofocusing, then you could activate the autofocusing that way and then shoot at any given time. And that was one of the things that a lot of people were bringing up with the X-T1, and that now is being dealt with. That's great to see.
Absolutely, yeah. And speaking of continuous autofocus, one of the big improvements from the X-T2 versus the X-T1 was the continuous autofocus capabilities. So you can actually customize 3 different functionalities of your continuous autofocus, be it speed of the object in your frame or acceleration and deceleration, and determine it. So there's a lot of customization that can go on in there. As well, because of the processing power capable now with the X-T2, our blackout period after the exposure's been captured has been significantly reduced. That allows for a little bit longer time for the camera to reacquire a focus, so you have a lot better autofocus when you're in a continuous mode. You're going to get the shots a lot more frequently than you might miss with the X-T1.
Exactly. So definitely catching up, and in this case improving over a lot of concerns with DSLRs with having their autofocusing through on the bottom, the sub-mirror area. This now allows you to catch up and be a lot faster.
Yes.
Great to see.
So all these improvements have come to the X-T2, and it's going to be a very exciting camera for us through the fall, and we're looking forward to a lot of great success and a lot of great reviews from within there. And I do recommend that if anybody's interested in asking about the X-T2, that they do indeed come down to Leo's Cameras and ask any of the experts here like yourself and find out more about the X-T2.
Come on down if you have any questions regarding the cameras, and if you have any concerns, all of us here would be able to help you out with that. We are taking pre-orders at this time, and if you have any questions, again, check out our website, call us, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you very much.